Kabul airport. Some of them have been intercepted. It comes a day after the US had warned that an attack on the facility was highly likely. Meanwhile, on Sunday, the US carried out a drone strike in Kabul targeting suspected suicide bombers. According to some media reports, 9 members of one family, including 6 children, were among the dead. American officials say they were targeting a group they suspected were planning an attack on the city's airport. Let's bring in Charlotte Bellis. She's live for us in the Afghan capital, Kabul. Charlotte, so this appears to be a rocket attack outside the airport. What more can you tell us?
Well, the information we have right now from a resident who was near to this vehicle which fired the rockets, they said that 5 rockets were fired. They left the back of a trunk about 4 kilometres west of the airport, but with the trunk facing the airport, shooting in that direction. We saw imagery of one building that was damaged by a rocket. It's unclear if there are actually any casualties from this, but we do know that the CRAM, which is an anti-missile system, was activated. I actually woke up to it this morning at about 6:45 a.m. It's got quite a distinctive sound, like thunder, and we understand that that CRAM system intercepted some of these rockets that were heading towards the airport. And for a little bit of context, that anti-missile system was only installed in early July by the former Afghan government and by the Americans because they were worried about a Taliban threat on the airport. Now, of course, the Taliban are in control and they are countering other threats. No one has taken responsibility for this, although it is the MO of ISIL. This is typical of the type of thing they do, this in suicide bombings. Now, the White House has just put out a statement saying that their operations will continue uninterrupted. I can tell you that C-17s are still entering and leaving Afghan airspace, and they say until they have to be out by midnight tomorrow, they will continue.
Yeah, and Charlotte, what more details are emerging about yesterday's US drone strike on that car and the casualties involved there?
Yeah, it's still incredibly murky. We're getting very little information other than that the US has confirmed that they did do a drone strike and that they say that they did take out suicide bombers, plural, that had intended to launch some type of attack at the airport yesterday, trying to replicate something like what we saw on Thursday. But yeah, it's still very unclear. We understand civilians have been potentially killed. The latest figures we had were 6 civilians killed, including 4 children, although it's still very hard to figure out who has been hurt in this. I must say as well that the US says that even though they are leaving tomorrow, they still intend to do these type of drone strikes and operations. They call them over-the-horizon operations, and they say that they intend to still focus and target on counter-terrorism missions. So the Taliban aren't that happy about it. They say we want to be in the loop on this type of thing and that we should be consulted before the US conducts drone strikes of this nature.
And Charlotte, as you say, the Taliban take over the airport in a day's time, so the clock is ticking. What's the latest on the evacuations now, then?
Well, they're definitely waning. There's far fewer people getting out than there were. The latest numbers I have is that there's about 250, 300 US passport holders that they're still trying to get out. The flights are still coming and going, but far fewer than there were, and it's only US aircraft that we can see, at least on the radar, coming and going. The mission very much is now on getting out the remaining troops, getting out their equipment and just wrapping up. They've only got a very small portion of the airport that they're holding now. The Taliban has pushed in internally. They were just holding the perimeter. Now they're holding the commercial side of the airport, various sides within the military areas. So yeah, just the Americans have a small island that they're protecting, and their footprint is certainly shrinking.
All right, Charlotte Bellis live for us there in the Afghan capital, Kabul. Charlotte, thank you for that.